Every medicine we ever would need would be placed here on the earth for us. When we drink these herbal teas, there's teas that can heal many things. Everything in nature has a lesson to teach us. It doesn't cost anything to smile at somebody. It takes 12 muscles to smile and 24 to frown. Part of our problem today is money has become a god.
Yeah,
it's
to most
just
people.
a tool to help us get the things we need. The most important thing is coming from a pure heart.
We go through life not knowing what others are going through. We walk by them daily, not able to fathom the depths of the struggle they face. I am Tamara Gordon, and this is Tea with My Sweet Gratitude, a safe space where I'll be having unfiltered conversation with ordinary people with incredible stories and life experiences. Not only will I be speaking with others while they share their story, I am privileged to share my remarkable story of motherhood, wrongful imprisonment, and the wisdom I've gained and the journey to self-love. So stay tuned to this channel and let today's conversation begin. Gratitude shining down on me. Welcome to Tea with My Sweet Gratitude. I am your host, Tamara Gordon, and today I have the pleasure of sitting here with a phenomenal lady. This woman I've just grown to love and just admire her strength and how she continued to go on, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just help me welcome Grandma Nancy. Grandma Nancy, welcome to Tea with My Sweet Gratitude.
Well, thank you. Good morning. I say, kwe kwe, hehane washte, yate. I speak in several of the languages that you would have heard on this continent before any sailing ships came here, including the Vikings, the Celts, and Mr. Columbus, who was lost. So you look at me and say, she doesn't really look like an indigenous North American person. Well, I'm a mutt, and mutts are wonderful because mutts love everybody. And so I do have an Innu and Anishinaabe heritage. For many years, I studied with my Lakota brothers who taught me so much, but when it was time to learn the women's teachings, they shipped me to Canada to my sister Faye Hollywood at Charbot Lake Abajawan in Ontario. And so even in this modern age that we're living in, I'm trying to live up to the spiritual values of the indigenous people of North America, and generally speaking, in the indigenous people globally, which respect all life and all of nature. And so, you know, Grandfather William Commando, one of my wonderful mentors, said that every medicine we ever would need would be placed here on the earth for us. And we've sort of forgotten about that. We've forgotten that the plant medicines are still available to us, that when we drink these herbal teas, there's teas that can heal many things. This is not to discount Western medicine, which sometimes we need, but my medicine people in the North say that the two work well with each other. But we have lost, unfortunately, so much knowledge about these sacred herbs and plants, and there are people working really hard to bring that back, to bring back the plants that were the original plants in each area of the world, because whichever continent you lived on, there were medicine plants to make teas and salves and various things with. So I'm sitting here with a lady who is a better herbalist than I am. I work My work is mostly with people and animals. I trained horses for most of my life, rode show horses. And people don't think about it, but the animals are healers too, and we can learn lessons from them. Everything in nature has a lesson to teach us.
Well said, Grandma Nancy. Speaking of herbs and stuff like that, today's tea we're going to be drinking my Grandma Mary's favorite tea, which is tamarind, guava, and lemon today. So enjoy, Grandma Nancy.
I'm going to take a sip of it right now.
It's hot. Be careful.
Oh, nice. Just very gentle tea.
Soft. It's
A very
dainty.
gentle tea.
So, Grandma Nancy, we want to talk to you about herbs and healing today. Because a lot of people don't utilize the power of herbs at all. Some people don't even use herbs to make a cup of tea. They don't even know how to do it. But they're not educated on it. Nevertheless, like using herbs to clean energy. I'm a big energy cleaner. I like when my energy is right. And so let's talk about that, Grandma Nancy, your experience.
Well, as I just said, before we went into pharmacies, the pharmacy was right out there in your yard. And it still is. You can have healing plants growing right outside your door that you aren't even aware are healing plants. Mm-hmm. And so we've been over chemicalized at this point in time, and our bodies are yearning for these natural, medicines that came from Mother Earth herself. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the medicines that Western medicine have found, guess what? Most of them are plant-based.
Yeah.
But I think what has happened is that the average person doesn't have knowledge of how healing the plant medicines can be. And even in using plants to clear energy, in our tradition, we have 4 very sacred herbs, and I'll explain them. The first being tobacco, because when Creator gave us, and you can call Creator by dozens of different names, and no matter what part of the universe you lived in, you could always communicate with a higher being, whatever name you want to put on that, whether it's Buddha, Jesus, Great Spirit. We're all his children. Yeah. No matter what part of the world we come from, we're all his children. And so for us North American indigenous, the tobacco was the communication, direct communication between the Creator and those who live on the earth. And we human beings were supposed to be the caretakers of the earth, of all the plants and the animals, the fish, the birds, everything in nature. We were supposed to be the caretakers, and unfortunately, we haven't been doing a very good job. The second herb for energy clearing, and we're talking only about energy clearing now, is sage, which chases away negativity. Nothing negative will stay where there's sage because it just chases it away. The Anishinaabe call the bad spirits Wendigo. And the Wendigo look for all our weaknesses, and we all have them. And this sage will just chase them away. It will purify the energy around you and your own energy. And the third one is flat cedar. I think the Latin name is arbovitae.
You mean the flaxseed?
Yes, and then when you pick it, the leaves almost look like a hand. Okay. And so that does the same thing as sage, but it has another component to it in that it pulls in positive energy. And it's also very much in North American culture, the woman's herbs, because we make tea out of cedar, a serious tea. I mean, that's a tea that you usually only make when somebody is pretty sick. There are milder ones like white pine, which is very good for respiratory. Up in the Rocky Mountains, there's osha root, which we affectionately call bear root because the bears know where to find all the medicines. And that is all good for respiratory sicknesses. And then the last herb is sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is made from long, tall grasses, and the long, tall grasses represent the hair of Mother Earth. So you see, our ancestors knew about these medicines, knew which, like bark from a birch tree, very powerful medicine.
Yeah. But how do you use the fever grass to cleanse the energy? I've never heard about that one before.
Well, when you burn these energies for these sage and cedar and your sweetgrass, and never light the sweetgrass first because the negative spirits will draw right to it. You want to put your tobacco down, which is a Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Every day we should start with the Thanksgiving, even though we may have had a horrible day the day before.
Yeah.
Each time the sun rises, there's a hope for our prayers and dreams. So you put your tobacco offering down, then you light your sage and your cedar, and finally your sweetgrass.
Or you burn them all together.
You burn them all together. I use 2 abalone shells. You don't want to use glass because it'll shatter. You want to use something very natural, you know, an abalone shell or something earthenware, clay, or something that's come from Mother Earth. So you see, and then these other herbs, the elders teach you, like we also use that cedar for what the women call the cedar baths, where you literally immerse yourself in the cedar in water, and it takes the toxins out of your body and your spirit as well.
I just get some cedar actually from Jamaica to do just that. But I've been doing a lot of detoxing bath because I don't want any toxin in my body. So I've been doing that quite a bit. So that's nice to know about the 4 herbs to burn together to clean the energy. And I've used sage a lot, almost every day, but I've never burned the tobacco and that together.
Well, the tobacco you put on the ground as an offering.
Okay.
You know, that opens the line of communication between you and the higher spirits.
So you would just pour it on the ground, say in the house?
Yep, and
Okay.
just say, you know, good morning or thank you for my life, it's a gift.
And when you-
Piramia we chose in Ewa. Thank you for my life, it's a gift.
So when you clean it up, you just put it out, throw it out. Okay.
Yeah, and like when we use these herbal medicines, this is really important. Like, please don't put them in a garbage pail. Take the time to put it back on Mother Earth that respects the herbs. And you might think, oh, well, they're inanimates. That's not quite the case. The plants hear us.
Yeah.
They know when we're talking good about them. So we need to be communicate with those herbs.
Well, you know, that's my issue. I admit that. So I take a lot of baths, and sometimes I just clean it out and put it in the garbage pail because I'm lazy sometimes, like at night, you know, to do it. But I'm making a mistake there. I won't make that again. So
Yeah, don't make that mistake because when we do that, it disrespects the herb.
Oh, thank you, Grandma Nancy.
Yeah, so when we use these sacred teas and herbs and things, and people will say, but I live in an apartment. Well, do you have a plant?
Yeah.
You
I
could-
used to put it in my plant, and then
Yeah.
then I get these little fruit flies sometime, and then I stop. And then I stop. But I used to do that, and then I stop. But now I'll just put it back to the earth.
Well, and if you know, if you had just a little bowl or something that so when you do go outside, you can just put it in the grass or wherever. You know, sometimes it's freezing cold outside. You may not want to run out the door to put your herbs on the ground, but at some point, you know, put it in the snow because remember, the snow is a form of water and it is also purifying. And it has memory. It hears. You know, we're taught to think of these things as inanimate. And that's not quite correct because these are all living things. Those plants grow. We know when to harvest them for the medicines. And, you know, so the people who work with herbs are very gifted people. As I say, I'm not the world's greatest herbalist. I know a lot of medicines, but my gift is mostly working with energy
Yeah.
and with people and animals. That's like,
Well, see, I've been working with herbs for quite some time. I've done quite a bit of study on herbs, so I know that. And I'm tapping into more of the energy now because herb bring me such peace. There's something it does, like for me, to just lay there in a herbal bath and just surrender. You come alive.
well, I think what people, you know, people spend a lot of money going to the spa, and I'm not saying you shouldn't because it's a wonderful thing. But I think a lot of people aren't aware that when you know somebody who knows about the herbs, you can be helped in that way. When you do this cedar bath, it's detoxifying. It will pull the things out of your own body that need to go, but then it will also relax you. You'll have a peacefulness about you. And so that is really, really important when we do that for ourselves. It's a gift to ourselves. And, you know, think about when you have an infant.
Yeah.
And what you do is every day you bathe that little infant and you're very careful about what you use
On their
on that
skin.
infant, right?
Yes.
You don't use anything harsh or toxic on when taking care of your infant. So, you know, there's an inner child in all of us, and we need to be kind to our own inner child.
Need to be kind because that's sometimes that inner child is suffering from
Yes.
different things, and you just need to be kind to it. I'm very, very conscious and intentional about what I do with my inner child. A matter of fact, I think I spend too much time in my tub because of different detox or just to clean my space, how I'm feeling. Sometimes I could be feeling really foggy and tired about something, but I'm never too tired to do a detox bath or just a nice spiritual herbal bath. I am in love with it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, and if you can't do that, look at what we have right here.
Yeah.
Drinking the herbal teas can really soothe you. Like if you've had a hectic day, a frantic day, giving yourself the gift of making a pot of whatever herb might be
Available
if you
to
need
you.
something to calm you down.
Yeah.
There are teas that will do that. If you want to be energized, there are teas that'll do that. And so it's a gift to yourself and to nurture that inner child to be able to do something like that. And certainly for the people we love, when we see, you know, that there's, if your partner comes home and they've had a stressful, awful day, sit down and let's
cup of
talk.
tea.
Let's have a cup of tea together, and so you can vent out
What
you know.
you're going through.
Exactly.
Like, so when I start creating these blends, is when, you remember when I was coming to you for healing?
Yes.
And then after that, I just kind of stopped and I just started studying more and going back to her than what I need to start implementing myself. Can remember I was in a bad shape. And Grandma Nancy, I just start studying more and more and picking herbs that would work for me. Because what I was not going to do is stay on some medication that
No.
they give to me. Because do you remember that when I was taken because to help me to stabilize, I really did need it at the time, or think I did. It sent me into such a tailspin.
Well, see, I think that no discount to modern medicines. They have their place and what have you. But I think that the society has become a little too dependent and has not appreciated the pharmacy that was given to us
For
from
us.
the very beginning.
Exactly.
And that a lot of us are finding that, wow, I don't need to bother with those things. Let me go to somebody who knows more about the herbs than I do, because I can tell what specifically is going on.
And what you could do to help that.
Exactly.
Because I tell you, I don't know if you remember, but I was just going down somewhere that I didn't like. And when I start zoning in on the herbs, I start feeling better. And it's just one cup of tea after the other. It was helping me with this, helping me with that. And that's why I start creating the different blends, because it was so good for me. And then I was giving it to people. They were getting the same result. And I just, it's an amazing feeling.
Well, and I think that, I think the more we can try to go back to these things, these were the original things gifted to us.
Hi, I'm Tamara Gordon, and we are inviting you to be a part of our growing community of strong, resilient women. Follow us on our YouTube and TikTok channel at Tea with My Sweet Gratitude, and don't forget to listen to us on all major audio platforms at Tea with My Sweet Gratitude. Subscribe, and you will never miss an episode of empowering story and healing wisdom. So join me with a cup of tea as we embark on this journey of gratitude, healing, and hope together. Thank you.
I don't know of any master teacher who would not teach good values.
Yeah.
So, we go in many different ways and many different voices. The most important thing is coming from a pure heart.
Amen.
That's where you start to open your heart. And right now, there's so much fear and anxiety out there and uncertainty. And, fear has an ally called hatred. And all these things stem from that. Instead of saying, let's be kind to each other, don't judge anyone, because you have the native people here have a saying, don't criticize when you haven't walked a mile in their moccasin, because you can meet somebody and you think, oh my God, this is an abrasive person, but you don't know what that person might be experiencing. So try not to judge. Now, if the person is just downright nasty and hateful, that's like turn your back and go the other way.
And even then, not to judge. The Bible teaches you, judge not.
Yeah, we cannot really judge because we're not walking in that person's path. So we have no way of knowing what they're going through. And that's why I say, I have the honor of belonging to a Black Lives Matter committee at the Unitarian Universalists here in Connecticut, and it's sit down, have a conversation with me so that I know what you've experienced, because your experiences are going to be totally different than my experiences. But if we talk with each other, if we sit there with a good cup of tea and we talk with each other, then we start to understand each other's experiences and have empathy and compassion for them. There's nothing like sitting down at a potluck supper to get to know people better.
Yeah. I wish people would do more of that. Or just sit down over a cup of tea and a piece of nice cake like people usually do, and just get to know each other.
Yeah. A conversation, you can read a dozen wonderful books, and there are some wonderful books out there on forming right relationships and understanding, but it's human contact that really makes the difference. So, you know, I, for one, am always fascinated to hear somebody else's story.
Me too.
I want to know where they come from, what do they like, what are they interested in doing, even if they're totally different
From yours.
interests. Because this is how we learn and grow. We grow in that way. So, you know, and so, people laugh at me. I have a vision impairment, so if I pass you in the street and I don't say hello, it's just because I haven't recognized and seen you. I'm not being stuck up or snooty. But like when I travel, like if I'm in an airport, I like to just sit there and watch and wonder, ooh, where are they going? Where are they coming from? What is the purpose of their travel?
What are they thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it for a joyous occasion? Is it to learn something about a new place? Is it a sad journey that you're saying goodbye to a loved one? Because we don't know unless we sit and start a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And some people are very grumpy. Like you'll say, "Well, good morning." Well, you go, okay, we're not going to start a conversation with this person, but I think we've been taught not to I know growing up as a little girl, we always said good morning to the neighbors.
Or the elders.
Yeah.
You can't pass them on the street.
Definitely to the elders, and we were respectful. And I remember, everybody lived fairly close-knit by, where my grandmother would know a neighbor was sick and say, all right, Nancy, take this over to Mrs. So-and-so. She's not feeling well. And there'd be a pot of vegetable soup or chicken soup or whatever my grandmother happened to have in the house. And we don't do that. We barely get to know most of our neighbors.
Yeah.
But somehow, like if you have the courage to go out and just wave, hi, good morning, they might look you a little funny, but maybe the next time you do it, they'll wave back, you see, and that's the starting point. And no, we don't need to know each other's intimate business. That's called being nosy. And I guess all of us have a little bit of being nosy.
You mean we have nosy tendency, Grandma Nancy?
So, and so it doesn't cost anything to smile at somebody. It takes 12 muscles to smile and 24 to frown. Wow. So why wouldn't you smile rather than frown?
Well, that's why you live so long. Because you know how to do those things.
Even if you say a cheery good morning to somebody and they don't acknowledge it, you might be the only person saying good morning to them the whole morning long.
I believe that, Grandma Nancy. Oh. I go out some days and I just greet people, because sometimes you're the only person that greet that person for the day.
Exactly.
And if you're kind to them.
Yeah, it does not cost anything to be kind. Now, if people are insulting or what have you, then back away from them, we wear our shawls in most ceremony and what have you, and if we encounter somebody like that, we just put our shawls up and turn our back. No discussion, no chiding back at them, just like, okay, you don't want to converse and be a pleasant human being with me, then I'm just going to back away. And
I think this world, people just walk around with too much cares on their shoulder. They forget how to be kind to each other.
Well, and we're seeing so much of that right now. And
yeah, we won't even get into that here, but
we're not going to start on that.
That's a long story.
It doesn't take anything to be kind. It doesn't take anything to become a good listener. Dominant society is not taught to listen the same way that indigenous people listen. and this is globally, because I've had the honor of speaking with some medicine women from Africa, comparing different ceremonies and such, and you know, we just have to be. And yes, there are a lot of unpleasant things out there, so it's made us a little fearful and a little weary. But I, for one, am not going to spend my life being afraid of anything
Or being mean.
or being unpleasant.
Speaking
No.
about medicine women from Africa, I admire the fact that they stay on their course of healing with herbs and stuff like that. Just if something's going on with you, it's herb that they use. A woman give birth, it's herb that they tie around their stomach to help them to go through it. Everything.
Well, you see, this is what I said towards the beginning, that once we all were a tribal people. I don't care where you came from. Even in Europe, once upon a time, you were part of a tribe.
Yeah.
And you depended on Mother Earth for everything. And then as we got sophisticated and educated,
They start demonizing
that
leaves.
and of course your herbal women were persecuted, all over the world, because men, I'm not insulting you because I know some wonderful men, because masculine control it started with the Romans, then it started with the monarchy and the religion. That women were no longer valued as equals. And even in the early church, especially the Celtic traditions, there were women bishops.
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Saint Bridget, who's one of my favorites. Well, I have to confess, I love Ireland. I dreamed for 30 years of going to Ireland, and when I finally went, it lived up to all my dreams, and the people were just friendly, but they're still once you get out of the major cities, they're totally still connected to the earth and the land.
Yeah.
And this is what has harmed us. This is what has made us start disrespecting these plants and not showing the gratitude to these plants. And, people laugh when you say, oh, I talk to my plants, They're living entities.
I talk to
The
them all the
water
time.
is a living entity. And you may think, oh, stones, they're just... The stones have seen the world created as we know it.
Yeah.
So don't, the indigenous look at things with a different view than the general society does.
You'll be so proud of me, Grandma Nancy, because I've been implementing stones a lot into my bathing routine. Quite a bit. So comforting. Like
every stone has a different quality to it.
And meaning.
And I work a lot. Ever since I've been a little girl, I used to just pick up rocks and bring them home, much to my mother's upsetment. And she'd go, why'd you bring that? Look, there's a fish in here. And I would see things in the rocks. And for, children, they're strange. I would put them in my shoes at night, which drove my mother wild, right? She hated it. So every so often, I'd get a shoebox, and my stones would all go in the shoebox. And then once in a while, I'd come from school, and guess what? My shoebox would be gone, and then there'd be like, what did you do with my stone, people?
Aww.
And I still work with stones.
Yeah.
I want to be really specific about something. You hear a lot of, and this isn't a put down to anyone, I'm a healer.
Oh, Jesus, tell me about it. And they don't know nothing.
I'm a tool for a higher power if they see fit to use me in that way. And yes, I've been taught certain things. Certain things have come through my ancestry. Everyone is a healer in their own way. Now, sometimes it takes a little while to find the gift.
Yeah.
Tammy has found this gift of knowing the herbs and using the herbs in the right way. Others of us have other different
Of
modalities.
healing, yeah.
But the true definition for me, and what do I know? This is just my definition, is a healer works on their own healing first
Grandma
and
Nancy.
heals themselves.
Say it again. Like, I was so
A
selfish.
true healer works on their own healing first. And it's a lifelong work. You're never completely
You never
done.
completely, like, I feel like every day I need to heal from something. Like,
And then what you are able to do when you do this work for yourself, you can reach out a hand
And
to
help
someone
them.
else and say, come on, let me help you find your path. You don't do the work for them, but you
teach
can
it.
help them to find their own path.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is a true healer. So it really kind of upsets me when, we're the tools. We aren't the healers. The healing comes from a higher
above,
source.
yeah.
And so we're just like a piece of copper wire.
Yeah.
We're just a copper wire that we offer ourselves up as a tool.
This episode of Tea with My Sweet Gratitude is sponsored by My Sweet Gratitude Cosmetics, your go-to for affordable luxury that celebrates your healing journey. With quality handmade products made with rich, creamy, moisturizing ingredients and a special customized blend of herbs that will leave you looking, smelling, and feeling absolutely beautiful. As a listener of Tea with My Sweet Gratitude podcast, you could enjoy a 10% discount by using code T at checkout. Visit our website at mysweetgratitude.com. Thank you for supporting Tea with My Sweet Gratitude. We will see you soon.
I remember one of the medicine men about 4 or 5 years ago. We were at a very big gathering, and it was the first day of the gathering, and I've seen these people work and some amazing things happen. And what he said was, brothers and sisters, he said, going to ask you all a big favor today. He said, please don't put us on pedestals. We're humans like you.
Yeah.
We cry, we get angry, our feelings get hurt, we try to have compassion. And we've been given certain gifts which we have tried really hard to learn how to use. Don't put us on a pedestal because we can't live up to that because we're just human.
And sometimes it's very, very hard. And even when you get the direction from above to use the herbs to heal, you're still thinking about, like, is it going to work on this thing that you're trying to heal?
Well,
it's very hard.
That's when we ask that those higher powers to assist us.
Yeah.
And usually they will. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to take time. We can't be
Rushing.
in rush. No.
It's patient.
So, this is just some of my ideas, and they're like, what is this 88-year-old lady?
Oh, she know quite a bit. I remember, Grandma Nancy, remember first time when I come to you for healing, and you said, what do you want to work on? And I said, I just want clarity, Grandma Nancy. I want to know where I am. And I was in a situation, a romantic entanglement, and I need clarity. And when we were finished with the healing, everything come forward to me. When I lay down and you play the sound bowl and you did what you did, and it was beautiful. And I thought that was just spectacular.
Well, what we pray to do is to set you in a calm, quiet, beautiful atmosphere. And, it's up to the person whether they really want to cooperate with that. And then we, through the years, have learned different modalities to help with that. But you know, no matter how much we love someone, we can't do the work for them. They've got to be able to try. So you
Yeah.
did the work, you see.
Yeah.
I helped facilitate it, but
Yeah.
you had to do your own work, and you did. And look at where you are now.
Tell
So
me
I
about
mean,
it.
you
Like
know.
Grandma Nancy, like I come a long way. Ah!
So, you know, so that
I,
kind of makes
you
me happy
remember?
that I was part of that
Do you remember
journey.
I telling that Grandma Nancy? I feel like I'm broken more than the ladies that I'm serving, and now I feel strong. I could, help them along their journey too, and just guide them in the way because,
Well,
I just feel like God create these stuff for us. Why
of
not use
course,
them?
absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's the whole idea. We're not creating anything.
anything.
We're using the tools that are available in the way that I think our higher beings want us to use it. Like when I work with somebody, I always call on my ancestors. Please come in and help me. I'm just this little human being sitting here, but you've experienced life here. You remember life here, but you're now part of the universe.
Grandma Nancy, I used to be afraid when people said talk about with your ancestor until you and I start working together because I never quite understand it. I'm thinking, why am I going to summon a dead person to come help me? But they're sent there to guide you.
Of course.
And so my Grandma Mary, she always just come in my dreams and give me different blends.
And they will.
Oh, most of the blends, not every single one, 90% of the blends that I created and the bags, she's given it to me. It's when I'm in a situation that I need to come out from. And she's given me certain herbs to take a bath in, given me certain herbs to drink. Like the time when I was just way, way under. I didn't know where to turn anymore. And she just sit me down and like in a quiet space and I was connecting with her and she just give me the blends.
Well, you see, we have been taught, I mean, some people believe in angels, other cultures believe in fairies. They're all ancestors in a way, and if we call on them, they are listening. They will help us. But you have to be humble enough to say, well,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I need some help from a higher source here.
Like I'm lost.
Yeah, so please help me. I
Yeah.
know that you have more knowledge than I have. So, it's complex. Everything that's simple is totally complex. Now, there's an oxymoron for you, but it's true. The simpler it is, the more
more
complex
complex it is.
it is.
It's
So,
true.
so we're just all here doing the best that we can do. I think those of us who want to be of service,
Yeah.
it's about being of service.
Yeah.
It's not about, oh, look at me, I'm so special, honey, da da, and
Yeah.
I can do this and that.
I could do that, yeah.
Because you're not doing it.
You're
a
not
tool.
doing anything.
You're a tool.
Like, what do you know about doing? What do I know about creating different blends? It's just, it was given to me as a gift. Like, my grandma, and I'll talk about her every single day if I need to. She bring me comfort. Sometimes I'm sitting here having tea and I feel like she's with me.
Oh, yeah, very definitely. I mean, sometimes I'll be sitting there. I like first thing in the morning, I do my prayers, and it always starts with gratitude, even if the day before has been
Rough,
hellacious,
yeah.
terrible day, because when you look at other situations, you always have something that
To
you
give
need to be grateful
good
for.
Because you're alive too. That's first thing.
And that's when you can really feel those ancestors there. So, if I'm going to do something, I'll say, good morning. Thank you for being present. I need your help today with
Yes.
whatever is task you're facing, or whatever situation might be what I call a sticky wicket, where you're not sure exactly how you're going to handle it. So you turn that over to them.
What if I told you that your darkest trauma are the gateways to the deepest form of self-hate? but through it, you can find healing. Would you believe me? I am Tamara Gordon, and I help women through their most severe challenges with the power of empathy and sweet gratitude. As a wrongful convicted woman, I survived prison only to find my greatest calling to date. After mentoring and ministering to hundreds of women behind bars, I realized that there are three critical things my dear sisters need to become whole: love, safety, and most of all, community. Join me and hundreds of other women on this challenge. I will send you one sample email each day with one action to take, and if you stick with me, I guarantee you your life will change. The Healing Heart Challenges is a safe place for women who are determined to reclaim their position at their homes and community. Join me today and let this transformation begin. We're wrapping up now, so what advice would you give to anyone that want to study or just know a little bit more about herbs and just healing?
I think that really, first of all, we're always working first on our own healing. And, may sound silly that to just sit and have some of these special teas, then try to find somebody that knows about these things, because your average person it doesn't have that gift. It's a gift. And then go from there. Get yourself out in nature.
Yeah.
Even if you live in an urban area, there's always a park or a tree or something. If you're lucky enough to have a car, especially here, you can go down by the shore.
Yeah.
Watch the seagulls, watch
Walk
the water.
barefooted, take off your shoes, step on a
Put your
herb.
feet on the Mother Earth. That's
do something.
really important. And then there are people working with these things out there, so ask around and, ask who do you know that does this, who's reputable. I do certain ceremonies. I've had permission to do them since the early 90s. And I've had people say, oh, I went to so-and-so, they only charge this. And I'm like, and doesn't mean that we don't need, unfortunately, money is a tool too. Money is a tool. So if we have to travel or if we have to go places to gather these special herbs and
they're
medicines.
expensive, Grandma Nancy.
Yes. So, it isn't that people are like, some people are using it in a wrong way, but many people are using it in the good way.
Yeah.
And money is just a tool.
Yeah.
It's not something, part of our problem today is money has become a god.
Yeah,
It's
to most
just
people.
a tool to help us get the things we need, to help us go the places that we need. Like if you have to go to the Rocky Mountains to gather certain medicines, who's going to pay for the gasoline and your food and what have you? So,
like you and I were talking about the trips that you're coming up this year for you. Like Grandma Nancy, you do quite a lot of healing, traveling and stuff like that. Next 2 weeks, you're doing some big stuff with some ladies. And those things are very, very important things to do, because people need to go back to the basics.
Well, and that's what I said. The simplest things are the more complex things, but try and look every day for the simple things that, money cannot buy you the simple things.
Yeah.
It can help you get some of the tools that you need. But, and my big thing is everything that we needed was gifted to us in nature. These plants, the animals, and they can teach us. We think we're so superior. We think we're so superior, and that's not true. We really, can learn. Sometimes your best teacher is a small child. Sometimes your best teacher is your dog. You know, because look at our dogs, their unconditional love. You can yell at them, and the next hour they'll come wagging their tail and all happy that you're calling them. So they're more forgiving. They've learned to be more forgiving than we've learned. So is that a teaching right there? Yes, it's a teaching right there.
Yeah.
So
Well, you hear it from us firsthand. Our herbs can heal. So give it a good try. There's healing in the herbs, healing in your tea. Use it. It's God's given it to us to use for those purpose. So please do use it, and just stay tuned for more herbal tip. Maybe I'll start teaching it myself. So thank you, Grandma Nancy, for sharing with
my
us.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for the good tea.
You're welcome, Grandma Nancy.
I've got a hectic day, so I think that tea will help me get through this hectic day.
Thank you so much. Well, that concludes this episode of Tea with My Sweet Gratitude. I am your host, Tamara Gordon, and thank you for watching. I hope this conversation brings you a sense of peace and hope. And if you find this episode helpful, please subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps us reach more women in need of healing. And remember to follow us on social media at Tea with My Sweet Gratitude for update and community support.